basically our show is really about, our motto is giving back, never looked and felt so good. So what we did is, our history is, we produce documentaries on social issues in America. Children exploitation is a big problem in America. Homelessness for children is a big problem, abused children. So this is why we're interviewing Guy, because we feel like this is such an important issue, and this organization is so important. So what would you like our viewers and for people to know most about this?
Let's start with this issue people hear about human trafficking. Okay? In reality, let me start with that. Nobody in the world knows what that means. It's no definition that everybody agrees on. The word trafficking, immediately people think, oh, it requires the movement, it requires people to be moved across international borders. The US doesn't have the same definition as the UN, does not have the same definition for other places. So, and that's basically is equal bad things. Every time we get in what we do, red light children, to this concept of let's press a button and we all love each other, we fail as an organization to give practical solutions. So that's, for me, it's great idealistically, but not practical. So I don't know what human trafficking is. Under human trafficking is this issue of child trafficking. Again, there's no definition because nobody knows what it is. There's something called sexual exploitation. And again, it's very broad and nobody knows exactly what those include.
Right.
However, under that, there is something that we'll call child sexual exploitation. Okay? Child is very accepted. The definition of child universally accepted, minor, under 18, and those four in economics of this problem will fall into victims, and I'll go into details: supply chain, and the demand. Right? What you need, in reality, the victims are part of the supply. The supply is basically every single kid in the world can potentially be a victim of child sexual exploitation. Rich kids in the US may be approached by pedophiles online because they have their own cell phone and chat room and Facebook and internet, and those pedophiles online may have sexually exploited them virtually. And kids, homeless kids in Brazil may be exploited physically and otherwise. But every kid can potentially be a victim. In fact, if you mishmush, or kind of get everything together and mash them together, saying, do you cook?
No.
No. Have you ever seen somebody cook?
Yeah.
When they cook a steak, pancake, salad, an egg, and so on, you put everything in the same pot, mix it together, and saying, no, the steak we cook this way, the salad we chop this way. Well, why do you think that this is the same thing as like when it's come to human life? Let's put everything in the same pot, mash it, and we'll come up with the same outcome. Doesn't work this way. Wow. The demand here is not to be confused with the supply chain. These are the individual people who say, it's okay for me to walk into whatever, Times Square, Queens Boulevard, internet child pornography site, and virtually, physically or virtually, have sex with a kid. Hence, if this is the driving force, that's kind of what Red Light Children is focusing on. So say, we're not dealing with human trafficking, or child trafficking, or sexual abuse in general. Dealing with child sexual exploitation. Our focus as an organization is how do we decrease the demand for all forms of child sexual exploitation.
There was one thing is you said that you didn't believe that child prostitution and pedophilia came from generation after generation after generation.
One is that what I presented now, because it allows us more time to actually get into it, is a more practical approach in respect of whether or how much of it is because what happened to you before as a victim is, for me, what I meant is irrelevant with respect to, you still not justify then going and victimizing other kids, because if you give any excuse or connotation and say, well, this is in any way, shape, or form okay. And there's nothing I can do. Remember, to unvictimize somebody. What are the kids that we are trying to help right now? We cannot do anything and everything for them, and we should. What we cannot do is I cannot change already what happened. So now, if you've been victimized long ago and now you victimize others, you still need to pay the consequences for it.
Absolutely.
So our method is saying, while there's no conclusive research as to what you're saying, some people say that, most people actually say the opposite, that that's not the cause. Regardless, but it's irrelevant.
Right.
It's not conclusive. I'm saying I've heard both.
Right.
Regardless, what we can do is tell those people, hey, you cannot do it.
Yeah.
You may fantasize about it in one way or in your head, but you cannot act on it. And that's what we were saying. I cannot change your sexual preference. I cannot change what happened to you. I cannot change what in your mind you thinking of doing or not doing. What I can do is saying, hey, if you actually act on it, regardless of what was the reason, that's my point. I don't care what was the reason.
Yeah,
Still, I don't want you to continue doing it, because if you don't interfere at that point, they say, well, all of those kids who are victimized are going to then go and do it as well. So if you are right, then my model works even better.
Yeah.
And if you're not right, then my model works. Either way, we need to go after the demand and say you are not allowed to do that. I don't care. That's what I mean. I don't care why you're doing it.
Just stop
you
it.
still stop.
I do agree with that, but I think that this society and the citizens of this society, because we are an example for the whole world, needs to hold their government accountable, and we don't hold their government accountable. I mean, I know a lot of children's laws. I know that we have a lot of the same laws that Somalia does. I think that in itself is an atrocity. I think the other thing is that when you beat your wife in America, it's a misdemeanor. Also is making graffiti. So I think my job is as an American, especially
I did all
as
this
a woman.
graffiti.
I know, I saw no, but also that you rape a child is not the same priority as giving a parking ticket in Manhattan. I think me being a human being, I have a responsibility to say to my government, my legislators, and my congressmen, you're not doing your jobs. Because I understand other causes.
I agree with you. That's exactly what the Red Light Children is saying. Meaning you're jumping into an open door. The reason I said that this is the priority is because I think those are wrong.
Right.
I definitely think that this issue should be way up there on the priority list. We want to protect Red Light Children within this system. I would like everybody and anybody to say, we love this idea, we want to do it in our city, and I will be, and all they need to do is make a phone call to us and we'll give them the entire template, like here's what you need to do, here's all the issues. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. To the contrary, be happy to
invent it for you.
not invent it. It's meaning that's the thing is, remember what we create, what we discuss, none of this is not proprietary, none of it is, oh my God, we inventing something that was not done before. All of this is the legal system as it exists today. We're just applying exactly the principle that exists already to an issue from just slightly different perspective. This is nothing that we doing that is like, oh my God, we can't do the same thing. To the contrary. That's, by the way, what makes that exciting. If you say we can only press this button once, it's not really going to have much of an impact. You say, we can actually easily repeat that in each jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.